Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to Engineering 5. Today's our last class. We have a lot of things we're going to work on today, but we're going to start out doing reporting out to everyone about our experience interviewing an engineer. So what I want you to say is your name and the field of engineering that you're interested in, and the name of the person you interviewed, the type of engineer that person is, and the company that they work for, if you remember. And then mention one or two things you learned from the experience or a highlight, something you didn't expect to get out of it, but you learned something from. And what I'm going to ask you all to do is put yourself on speaker view so that the person who is speaking is the one who's larger in the screen. Okay, and we're going to go by, so everybody should be on mute then. And we're going to go reverse alphabetical order. So I'm going to start with Zane.
Hi guys, I'm Zane. I'm interested in mechanical engineering, and I interviewed my uncle. His name's Roberto Lovano, and he works at Varian Medical Systems in Palo Alto. One thing I found really interesting about my uncle is that he just doesn't sit behind a computer all day and design parts. He actually gets his hands dirty. He'll jump in the machine shop, work with lathes and mills, or he'll put together a lot of these cancer treatment machines he helps design and manufacture.
That was probably pretty interesting for you to learn what your uncle did. Maybe you didn't know beforehand.
Yeah, no, I always thought that was I always thought he sat behind a computer, but that's not the case.
Yeah, and I'm imagining he was very excited to share what he does with you, and I think you probably have a stronger bond now, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great.
John, you're muted.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you hear anything I said?
Not after you said okay.
Okay, I did say that you have a stronger bond, Zane. You heard that, right?
Yeah, I heard that.
Okay. All right. So it would be great if you guys did have your cameras on so we could just see who you are or a photo of yourself. And since we're going in reverse alphabetical order, we're on Ulysses now.
Hello, my name is Ulysses, and I'm interested in electrical engineering. And the engineer I interviewed was Tony Polillo. He hasn't been in the engineering job, or he hasn't gone in the industry, but he did work in an internship at Intech Corp in Marina for I think a couple of months, and he liked it a lot. He learned a lot about circuits there. But the two things I took from the interview with him is that he sees engineering now more competitive than before, because I thought you could just get like a bachelor's degree and be fine. But he says that you should try to get a master's now because there's more people trying to become a electrical engineer and there's like less positions. So he says that if you want to safely get a job, you should try to get a master's degree. And another thing that I took into consideration is that he values connections a lot, like teachers, fellow students, tutors, and all that, because they can help you more than you can think of. I think especially you, Joanne, and also Carl, you guys told him like you helped him decide what school to go to, and also classes and programs you should take, and he's really thankful about that.
I'm glad you got to connect with Tony. He's a great guy.
Yeah, and he does miss the classes he took with you guys.
Yeah. We miss him too. He used to be a butcher in Deluxe, and then I got him the job at
Oh
Intech.
yeah.
So he was really happy about that. And he went on the engineering abroad program and got the owners of Deluxe Foods to actually donate a significant amount of money to the abroad program. So that was awesome.
Oh, that's another thing he valued a lot, or at least interviewers, they value the engineering abroad program a lot. It surprises them when he gets interviewed.
Yeah, that's
It's a big
great.
plus.
And we will be advertising for the engineering abroad coming up soon. And then so if you're interested in going abroad for two weeks next January, please apply. I'll send out announcements once it's advertised. Okay, thanks, Ulysses. So the next person is Thomas.
Hi, Ron. I'm Thomas. The two fields I'm trying to decide between right now are mechanical and environmental engineering. I interviewed Philip Utel. He's the project manager at UCSC. The thing I found most interesting that he talked about was when he had to figure out a way to replace parts to something that was underwater in the ocean. That just sounded like super exciting to me.
Yeah, that sounds like a really interesting thing to do, huh? Challenging puzzle.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be super fun to
Yeah.
have to try and figure out.
Yeah, especially if you enjoy scuba diving.
Yeah.
There are people who are engineers who are scuba divers who actually look at failure on things underneath the ocean. It's pretty cool. Okay, thanks, Thomas. Next person is Sam.
All right, so I interviewed Garrett Roaf, I believe is his last name, and he is a civil engineer, and he works for a company called Messity Miller Engineering, I believe. And one thing that I found that was like really cool about what he said is because he works in Santa Cruz, so he built like the trestle trail that goes like across the river to the boardwalk, and I just thought that was really cool that like he gets to see his work, he gets to see like something that he built like, I don't know, probably quite a bit. So I thought that was really cool that he gets to see his work a lot, and that would be like really cool to like see your own results like every day pretty much when you're working in civil engineering.
Yeah, it's true. It's really nice to see it that you're helping your own community, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And Sam, you're interested in civil structural or?
Civil and structural, yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, Ruben, you're next.
Hey, okay, so my name is Ruben Fuentes. I'm interested in electrical engineering, and the engineer that I interviewed was Andrew Escamilla. He's also an electrical engineer. He likes to go by Drew though, and he works at STM Microelectronics. It's a semiconductor manufacturing company, and it's located in Austin, Texas. So the thing that I found most interesting about my engineer's discussion is how he was influenced by his uncle. So he was influenced by a family member already in the field. And so that made me wonder how like my life would have been different if I would have been influenced by somebody that was already working as an engineer, because I just got interested like naturally. So I think that makes me feel like I hope to do something similar in my family, like with my own nephew or with other family members. So what I found most interesting about my engineer's workday was that when he was telling me about it, he sounded very proud and excited. So I could tell that he had fun. It also sounded very flexible and non-repetitive. And he wasn't really able to tell me much about it because like every day sounded like it was different, but it sounded like he was like his own boss. Like it was very flexible, and he chose what he wanted to do.
Great, Ruben. Is Drew in Texas? Did he move to Texas?
Yeah, he moved to Texas. He's in Austin.
All right, well, great, Ruben. Oh, did you have another comment?
Oh yeah, just one more. So the takeaway message for all of us that I got from him was that it's gonna be hard, like all the way till the end. It's gonna be hard, but we just have to push through and remind ourselves that it's gonna be worth it and it's gonna pay off. It's like it's a big investment with a big return. And that's all.
Great. Thank you, Ruben. Okay, Reed, you're next.
All right. So my name is Reed Olmstead, and I want to be a mechanical engineer. I interviewed Joey Penniman, and he's a mechanical engineer working in the automotive industry at a company called Neuro. And I found it really interesting because the company that he works at, they only have like one product on the market right now, but it's an autonomous vehicle that picks up and like delivers items such as like food or something from a grocery store and will take it to your house. And then you just grab it and it drives off fully on its own. So I found that pretty interesting. And also something that he told me that I wanted to share was, you might not get where you want to be at first, but don't let that stop you, because everything along the road counts, and someday you will be where you want to be. Also, who knows, because in the next 10 years, you might not want to be doing what you think you want to be doing. And so that's what I got from that interview. And yeah, it was super cool to talk to him.
That's really interesting because what you're saying about you don't necessarily know where you want to be. He had always wanted to work in automotive, always. And then he gets this job at Tesla, right? And he worked at Tesla for years, and you would think, I would have thought that was his dream job, but actually something different is coming out as a new dream job for him. So yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. You change what you like.
And he told me, like, even at the point that he is in life, he still doesn't know, like, maybe he wants to own his own company in the next 10 years. And all the experience that he had along the way is going to help and count. And so work your hardest, try your best, and then they'll always help you in the long run.
Yeah. Thank you. That's really, the advice you guys are all sharing with us is really, really helpful. Okay, so even though you only got to interview one engineer, you are hearing vicariously through your students what other engineers, how other engineers feel. So, okay, Oscar, you're up next.
You hear me? Can you hear me? All right.
Yes, I could hear you.
Yeah, okay. Hello. Okay. Hello, everyone. And my name is Oscar, and I'm interested in civil engineering, and I got the chance to interview Miguel Lizárraga. He also became a civil engineer, and the company he works for is Public Works Department located in Santa Cruz. And throughout our conversation, a lot of things were interesting. And while I interviewed Miguel, he covered a lot of good things, positive things, and like positive things that you get to see in civil engineering. For example, the projects. A lot of projects are fun. While talking, he mentioned the best part of the job is to see a project of your own get built up and see it and say that that's my idea right there, you know? And he also mentioned about traveling. A lot of workers that are involved in the field, they often require more traveling. And I also mentioned fun. We all know that if it's a fun job, if you like it, it won't even feel like a job unless it's a job that you weren't committed for. And his daily work days is to be alert, check emails, and just make sure everything's going well at the job site. And a message he gave me and another person is to be responsible, work hard, be humble. It will open more opportunities within the future. And yeah, that's it.
Wow, great. Thank you. Thank you, Oscar.
Thank you.
It's really fun for me to hear about the people that you all are speaking about, because most of you got names from me. So these are my past students. So yeah, thank you, Oscar.
Yeah.
Okay, Nathan, you're next.
All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Nathan. My interest is in aerospace engineering. And for my interview, I was able to interview Mr. Christopher Jackson, who is a mechanical engineer at Lockheed Martin. And something that I talked to him a lot about during our interview was about the projects he worked on. He couldn't tell me the specifics about it because he's contractually obligated not to, but he could tell me some of the vague stuff about it. Like, for instance, one of the things that I thought was really interesting was just how long a lot of these projects take. Like a first-time project could take like 5 to 8 years, which is absolutely crazy. And then any subsequent project afterwards that's following similar designs is like 2 to 3. And teams are generally about like 10 people on average, he says. And they're separated into subsystems. So like one team is focused on propulsion, other is focused on power. And something that I thought was really cool is that even though they're separated into subsystems, they still have to communicate with each other in order to make sure that everything fits together. And something that Mr. Jackson told me was that a lot of these engineers are notoriously shy, and that they actually need to hire someone to help make sure that the engineers are talking to each other to make sure that this project actually comes together in the end. Yeah.
Wow, that's really funny, huh? Yeah, Chris definitely isn't shy, but I guess there are aerospace engineers at Lockheed that are shy. And it's interesting to hear, Nathan, that when they're working on a big project, a big product, which is like this, they do split the product into different things, propulsion and this and this and this, and then they come together. When you're an aerospace engineer or any type of engineer and you're working on something smaller, you might be working with a team doing the whole thing. So it really just depends on the scale of the product. And I remember Chris also saying, and maybe he said to you, Nathan, that in the defense industry and these military contractors or defense contractors, there's a lot of old guys there that are retiring and they need to hire. Did he tell you that too?
Yeah, he told me that there's actually quite a generational gap between a lot of people working there. There's a lot of really new people, and then people who have been there for a really long time working there.
Yeah. So that's interesting, because then they're going to be retiring soon. So there'll be more new people.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thank you, Nathan. Okay, Louis Q's next.
Hello, everyone. So as many as you know, my name is Luis Q, and I interviewed Benjamin Legace, if I'm not mistaken. And one of the things that I really liked about this engineering is that he's mainly focused in mechanical engineering, but he wanted to be into mechatronics. And so that's something that I'm generally interested in. And he told me that if he could go back, he would go into mechatronics. And I think it's something that's really valuable, because it's going to be something that in the future it's going to be huge, and it's going to evolve into something greater than possibly anything other than what we used to have as human workers. And so it's something really interesting I found about him. He was also interested in robotics, which is something I worked on in high school. And he says that he has a lot of hands-on work, and that's something that's crucial for me, because I like working with small things and creating things that are big, it's a huge importance for me. One message that he did have was that no matter what we study, in the end, the engineering department is crucial for building people that are going to be into multiple of departments or work job placements, and that this course is something that really it changed how he viewed life in general, because it does generally tell you about responsibility and the working with people with different ethnicities, different job types, and that he says that this is going to be something that in the end is going to help yourself and the community. And that's something that I really want to help the community. And yes.
And Luis, you might remember that I mentioned that Cal State Monterey Bay, which is in Marina, south of Watsonville, will have a mechatronics program in a couple of years. So you guys taking Engineering 5 now certainly can go to that school if you want to stay local. So just keep that in mind. Okay, thanks, Luis.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Luis C.
Hi. I am interested in civil engineering, some stuff under that, and electrical engineering, but I interviewed someone in civil engineering. His name is Mario Gutierrez, and he works in Los Angeles for Caltrans. So he is, his working title is design manager, but he is classified under transportation engineer. And he went to Cal State LA, and under the School of Civil Engineering, he originally was doing geotechnical engineering, and they have a department for transportation engineering. So that's where his introduction went. He's been working for Caltrans for 30 years. So he has a lot of experience in there. But my takeaway was that LA right now is getting ready for the 2028 Olympics. which for him, it means a whole bunch of work. And that came up within like my question of what is the future of engineers in your field? And right now, the whole city is getting ready for all the influx of traffic. It's badass it is now, but with the Olympics coming in, they are building trains, which means tunnels, like bridges, tearing down buildings. There's a whole lot of like traffic synchronization around traffic lights. And he is a project manager, so he's doing a lot of work around putting paperwork together, putting plans, permits, exceptions, all that stuff. And one thing that he said that really stuck with me, I asked him about where he finds inspiration to keep working in civil engineering for so long. And he used an analogy of building a ramp versus building like a freeway ramp versus building a skyscraper. And he talked about how the skyscraper is more of a private, X amount of people use it, and it has an impact on those people, but a ramp ultimately benefits a ton more people, and it is a smaller project that has a greater impact on the city.
That's a really great analogy. Really great analogy. I've heard that analogy in being a medical doctor versus a biomedical engineer, where a doctor may help one person, a biomedical engineer designs a device that thousands or millions of people can use. So many people wind up going into biomedical engineering because they're going to impact more people. And that's a really interesting comparison to a ramp versus a skyscraper.
Right.
Thanks, Luis.
Thank you.
Okay, next person is Kevin.
Okay, hi everyone. Oh, let me turn on the camera. Hi everyone, my name is Kevin Rio, and my field of interest is civil engineer. The engineer that I interviewed was Chris Nutley, and his engineering field was civil engineer as well. He currently works at Joby Aviation. He said that it was like a medium-sized company right now, but it's growing rapidly. Something that I found interesting about the discussion we had was that right now he's working to build an air taxi. That's it.
Yeah, isn't that wild? I just watched a video last night about air taxis. So Joby is a company that's growing huge in Santa Cruz County. And they have an office, I think, or a plant in Marina, or they're moving there. And it's all about air taxis. So originally they were designing these AirPods like the movie The Jetsons when I was a kid, but for individuals, but now it's actually going to be an air taxi. So they're going to sell the Uber or Lyft or something. So they're going to be these taxis that you get in, you go up and you go wherever you want to go rather than sitting in traffic. Yeah, it's pretty wild. And I was really excited for Chris because he's a civil engineer, and you don't think civil engineers would be working at Joby, but he's doing all the construction management for the new facility. So it's really, really neat. I'm glad you got to meet him, Kevin. And Chris just donated a huge amount of money to Cabrillo to form a scholarship in his dad's name. So that's really exciting that students will benefit from that. Okay, thanks, Kevin. Next is Ken's.
Hi, I'm Ken. I'm actually a computer major about to graduate, but I'm interested in pursuing a software engineering degree, master's. The interviewed was named Holly Stevens.
So Ken's, you're cutting in and out. So maybe don't use your video or anything because it might take up more juice.
Is this better or? You're muted, Joy.
Sorry, so Ken's is majoring in computer science, but it sounds like what she said is that she might get a master's in engineering. Okay, Ken's, continue. I think we might have to move on and then come back to Ken. So Julio, you're up next.
Hi, my name is Julio, and I interviewed Drew Escamilla. He's an electrical engineer, and I'm also interested in electrical engineering. And something that was interesting that he talked to me about was that even though he is an electrical engineer, he's currently working for the company. He's working on the business part of business management for his company. And I found it interesting how even though he has a degree in engineering, it's that same degree is useful for being able to get jobs in different types of fields.
Yeah, and it's often that once you get your engineering degree and you work as an engineer for maybe 5 years or maybe upwards of 10 years, you wind up moving into management, and then you're overseeing engineers. And that's how you move up kind of the corporate ladder and you become more of a manager. And some people love to do that because they want to manage people, and other engineers decide they want to stay doing the engineering work. So yeah, you get the opportunity of being a boss if you want to. Okay, thanks, Julio. Okay, we're up to Jose now.
All right, can you guys hear me? All right. So I'm Jose Ramirez, and I'm interested in biomedical, but I'm going for a mechanical because I feel it's more broad, more secure. And the person I interviewed is Luis Garcia, and he's a test engineer in Plantronics. Many of you guys may be familiar with this product. They're headquartered here in Santa Cruz. And something that I learned was how noise canceling works. So essentially, you have an outside wave coming in, and there's an exterior microphone that sends another wave, and when they hit, they cancel each other out. If these waves were stacked with one each other, the crest would align with the trough. And this is known as deconstructive interference, which you kind of learn in detail in Physics 4C, but I never really put two and two together, like, oh, this is noise canceling. And another thing he told me is similar to, I believe, what Ruben said, which is engineering is getting very competitive. And if you're a mechanical engineer, he recommends getting a minor in electrical and vice versa. If you're electrical, go for a minor in mechanical. And that way you have many job opportunities everywhere around the world. And yeah, that's about it.
Thank you, Jose. Thanks for sharing that with us. And it's neat that you got to interview somebody from Plantronics, because that's another big corporation in Santa Cruz that hires engineers. And they're all about making headsets, so they know a lot about acoustics. Thanks, Jose.
All right.
Okay, next is Jason.
Oh, hey, my name's Jason. I am interested in civil engineering, and I interviewed Miguel Lizarraga. And something he really focused on was like how connections are really huge in engineering, as he works in the public Santa Cruz department, but he was able to get connections. So he works with like different like departments, and he also was able to work with an international one, which that's where he did a project in LA, and which pretty much what their plan was to make traffic flow like better, which it ended up working out. That's what he said. He didn't say it was perfect because like nothing's pretty much perfect, but it was able to work out. He also talked about how there's different fields that are similar to civil, So like you don't have to like just focus on one single, and you can be in like different parts, which can lead to civil.
Great to hear. And Miguel is also pretty much a leader in Santa Cruz County in the civil engineering community.
Yeah.
He's he holds an office in the American Public Works Association that gives money towards scholarships and the abroad program at Cabrillo. So yeah, he's definitely a leader in Santa Cruz. So I'm glad both you and Oscar got to meet with him. Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, Jasmine, you're next.
Hello, my name is Jasmine Mead, and I am interested in mechanical engineering. I interviewed my father, who is Jeff Mead, who currently works at a company called Pan Pacific as the lead engineering manager, specifically as like a HVAC engineer. And the biggest thing I learned from him, which was like sort of most inspirational to me, was that he took what was most interested, what he was most interested in as a child, and grew up in and went out of his way to learn more about that same subject, mechanical engineering. As a child, he always worked on cars with his dad. He made little electronic trinkets like radios and lie detectors. And he also competed in multiple RC car races and remote controlled airplane races, which was very interesting to me. And I thought that it was really interesting how the things that he did with his father when he was younger is the same thing that he used to do for me as a child, which was like the biggest like thing that led up to me wanting to be a mechanical engineer.
I bet your dad really enjoyed, talking to you about this.
Yeah,
You
100%.
know, yeah, he was probably pretty, and proud of you in the direction that you're going. So that's
Yeah.
awesome. Thanks, Jasmine. Okay, Cody, has Cody arrived? I haven't seen Cody yet.
Just so you know, Joanne, I was able to rejoin.
Okay, and I hear you in the background, Cody. So let's go with Ken's and then Cody, okay? Okay, go Ken's.
Fantastic, thank you.
The chat's not there anymore.
Okay, the chat, it says your name and the field of engineering you're interested in, and then the name of the person that you interviewed and what field of engineering that person is in, and what company they work for, and then a highlight, something that you learned, maybe that you didn't expect to learn.
Okay, so my name's Ken's. I'm actually majoring in computer science at Cal State Long Beach, but I'm interested in getting a master's in software engineering later on. I was able to interview Holly Stevens. She's a software engineer for a cybersecurity company called Arbala Security. And she's actually still pursuing her bachelor's, but she's been working in the field for 5 years now. And she told me that obviously you should still get your bachelor's, but you can find jobs with just an associate's. It's just a difference between a 5-figure salary and a 6-figure salary. And what I found really interesting is she's been working entirely remote for the past like 3 years. So she hasn't had any like actual face-to-face interaction. She kind of just sends like an end of the day checkup, like here's what I did. And I also found it really interesting because she said that even though she's been working in the field for 5 years, she still is learning about cybersecurity. Like she's not super familiar with it yet because her other company wasn't related to that. And she just said it's okay to always be learning. And a lot of companies use their own languages. And if anyone else is interested in software engineering, she did recommend that you master an object-oriented language and a script language as well. Because even though companies use their own languages, they're generally all very similar to one of the big pre-existing languages.
Thanks, Ken. Yeah, computer science is an area where you could start working early on as, as a professional, but yeah, it's different between the salary would be different. I think also everyone could think about that when you heard that from Ken's, that this woman is a computer scientist and she works remotely always. And that's something that you have to think about for you personally. Do you want to be interacting with people or not? Because some of us are more social and we would want to be going into the office and working. But computer science does provide the opportunity that you could be anywhere, right? Okay, thanks, Ken's. Okay, Cody, your turn.
Hi, everybody. Sorry, I'm just having a little bit issue here. I'm going to be sharing my PowerPoint. That's okay?
Cody, we decided not to do it with PowerPoint because it takes up a lot more time and I wanted it to be more personal. So I appreciate that you did do the PowerPoint, but I'd rather you just look at the screen and talk to us.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let me give me just a second here. So I interviewed Masao Jexel, who worked. Sorry, I was a little more prepared to do this off the PowerPoint, and I got here a little late. It's been kind of a hectic morning.
Yeah, no problem.
Masao Drexel is a materials engineer. My name's Cody West, as you guys might know already, and Masao Drexel is a materials engineer. And shoot, my PowerPoint's disappeared entirely, so I'm literally flying blind here. Masao was really nice to interview. He started out at Cabrillo and made his way to Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, where he started studying materials engineering there. He
Cody, I'm going to cut in for a minute. I'm sorry, I didn't point you in the direction of the chat, but basically what I want you to do is say your name, the field of engineering you're interested in, Masao's name, his type of engineer, which you said is materials, the company he works for, and then 1 or 2 highlights that you got out of it, maybe something you hadn't expected to learn, but you learned that you want to share with the class.
Okay, so my name's Cody West. I am interested in being a materials engineer, a mechanical engineer, and or a mechatronics engineer. I'm still deciding. I interviewed Masao Drexel, who is a materials engineer. He worked at Imbeline LLC and a local startup. And, one of the things that I liked about interviewing with Masao is that he talked about how his days were always varied and he's always working on new projects, which is highly interesting to me because my attention span is often short. After this presentation, you guys might understand that a little bit more. One of the things that he recommended was to acquire as many Scholastic tools as possible. And that one of my favorite things that he said was that school is a workout for the brain, like lifting weights is a workout for the body. All in all, I had a really good time talking with Masao. He's very excited about his career. And the other thing that I guess I took away from him is that he says he doesn't use a lot of the scholastics that he learned, but he felt that the process of going through that was paramount to becoming an engineer, because everybody else you work with has got those same skill sets and have gone through those classes and has struggled in the same sort of way to get to there, whether or not you end up using calculus or physics specifically on a day-to-day basis. Thank you.
Thanks, Cody. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Sorry, that was a little chunky.
No, that's okay. Hey, Carlos. So Carlos, you mentioned that you didn't interview someone. Should I skip you?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Okay. Or Carlos, did you wind up, I don't know if you were one of the ones that sent me an email about it and I gave an alternate. Was that you or no? No. Okay. Okay. We're up to Cameron then. Thanks, Carlos.
All right. Hello, my name's Cameron. I'm interested in being a software engineer. And I interviewed a friend named Philip Kearney, and he's been a software engineer for over 25 years. And right now he's currently working on his own startup company. And one thing I found really interesting was that he said that most people don't feel very prepared for their first programming job. but you really learn a lot on the job, and you get a lot of learning assignments first before you start actually contributing to the like main database.
That's great. Thanks. Thanks so much. And you know, another interesting thing about what you and Ken's were saying too is that, you know, software languages could always change. Like right now, Python's the big thing. Where when I went to school, it was Fortran, and then it was Pascal, and then it was C, and it's MATLAB now and Python. So there's a lot of lifelong learning that happens in all engineering, but especially in software engineering. Okay, thank you. Thanks, Cameron. Okay, next is Brandon.
Hi there. That's not working. Hold on. There we go. Hi. Okay, so I'm Brandon Pimentel. I want to be a computer engineer, and that's what I'm on track for. I interviewed a man named Josh Connor, who is a software engineer and a tech lead at Google. He runs his own project environment in which he's in charge of 15 to 20 other people, and he's kind of the one who pulls those strings. So we're in a little bit of different like sectors of business, but that's the case with computers. I learned that he did not necessarily use much of what he learned in academia, but similar to what was said earlier, he said it was very important to get that foundation. And the reason that it's important is because computer science changes week to week, which bleeds into my second point, is that you have to be prepared for change and time to pass, whether you like it or not. It's not valuable to get really proficient with one tool over the span of 5 years, because it's likely that it will have been deprecated or replaced later on. So it's about maintaining that growth mindset and having the foundational understanding of what you're doing in order to adapt with time.
Thanks, Brandon. Yeah, you're just reiterating the same kind of knowledge about computer science. Yeah, thanks.
Right.
Okay, Angel.
All right, can you guys hear me? Okay, so my name is Angel Morales. The major I'm interested in is mechanical engineering. The person I got the opportunity to really be able to interview was, his name's Dago Calamateo. He's also a mechanical engineer, and I had a really great time being able to interview him. It was a really cool. We had a great time. We just really started, had a really great conversation, and then there's a few. Dago, he actually works for a company called SMUD. It stands for the Santa Cruz, not the Santa Cruz, I'm sorry, the Sacramento Municipal Utility District. So he basically kind of told me it's like kind of like the Sacramento area of PG&E basically over there. And he works in his main focus is working on renewable energy. And so that's what he mainly does. And so he started explaining more about it. And a really cool project that I was able to really, seemed really interesting to me was a thing he called, it was called a dairy digester. So he explained about this is this favorite project that he's done before and that he's ever done. And it was a project where they went to a local farm nearby when he went to Sac State while being there, and also been working for SMUD. And they saw that there was a farmer who was taking the poop from cows and emptying out into a lake right next to it. And so they realized that this lake, the cows that this farmer was putting the poop in was then producing methane. And so what they were able to do was then able to be able to create this dairy digester, which is a process basically, and where it transforms that methane into electricity, which then is able to supply electricity to the whole entire farm and then produce renewable energy for the farm basically. And so it's really cool to, the way he explained it. I don't know if you really understood what I was even saying right now, but the way he explained it was really, I was able to really understand it. It was pretty cool. Being able to see how, he even said like he really loved it because he did to really build it from the ground up. It took a few years for them to do it, but he was really the one who's going to continue to go over to the site, continue do research and different things like that. So it took several years to be able to produce this dairy digester, but it was really cool because he really loved it as well. He really, when he was saying, I can really tell like it was something he really loved to do because he's able to really see it, built from the ground up. And so and that was really cool to hear him talk about that. And also his other, also when he was a student, he did an internship at NASA really, and all the way in he got the opportunity to go all the way to Florida and be there during the summer for a few summers, and he was doing where he was working in the control systems and design for a few projects that had going on. So that was really cool. And you know, one thing I can really take away that he really told me, and I think it really, if you guys already said before, but he said, you know, that that engineering, you know, it's going to be a really hard thing to do, you know, but you know, he said like if it's something you want to pursue, then don't give up. You know, he told me that just keep grinding because it's going to pay off one day. And you know, so go into a branch of engineering that really sparks your interest, because you know, like don't do it for the money, but do it for the passion that you have. And so I was really able to get a whole lot out of it, and had a really great time with Dago.
That's great. I just talked to Dago recently. And I think that project is so amazing because here you have this waste product, which is poop. And like, what are you going to do with it? But you put it in this digester, which is this like huge old rubber band, this big thing that's made out of rubber. And then there's an outlet flow for the methane. And then I worked on a project in Costa Rica like that. Well, we did, it was called the biodigester, and it was pigs. The pigs' poop would go in this, and then the outflow was methane gas that was used for them to cook in the kitchen. So great. Isn't it amazing to like take a waste product and make something good with it? I'm glad you got to hear about that project, Angel. Thanks. Okay, Alex is next. I'm not sure if Alex Tucker's here. Alex,
Yeah,
are
I'm
you-
here.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You guys can hear me, yeah? All right, perfect. My name's Alex, and I'm interested in fire protection and prevention engineering, but I'll probably major in civil or structural. I interviewed Riley Gerbrant, not sure if I got that right, but he's a civil engineer that works for the County of Santa Cruz. And the most interesting thing we talked about was that he went to New Zealand to work on reconstructing, rebuilding, and redesigning a hospital that had fallen apart pretty much. And he was there for 4.5 years, which I thought was a really long time, but then I thought about it, the process it, and the time it takes to redesign and rebuild a hospital. So that kind of made sense. He took his family there. I think he had his wife and 1 or 2 kids, but that's cool that he got to go live there. And that was the most interesting to me because I think going abroad and living somewhere else to do your work would be really fun.
Yeah, it is an amazing opportunity that you get to do that. And yeah, and Alex, you might want to apply for the abroad program and actually do an abroad project while you're still at Cabrillo.
Yeah, it sounds like a great idea, a great thing to look into.
Yeah. Okay, Alejandro. Okay, he may not be here. Is Aiden here? Okay, Adam. Last but not least, Adam.
Hi, can you guys hear me right? All right, awesome. So, hi, my name's Adam. I am interested in aerospace engineering, and I got to interview Mario Guerrero, and he graduated as an engineer from Cal Poly SLO, works as a systems engineer in Lockheed Martin. And I really had fun talking with him. It was really insightful. And one thing that I found really interesting, which Nathan actually mentioned with the interview that he had with the engineer from Lockheed as well, security. When you're working as an aerospace engineer or just in general with places like Lockheed, where you have a lot of contracts with the government or the military, even though the actual projects aren't too top secret or high class, you have to have this confidentiality and you have to be limited in what you can speak about the project. So for Mario, he had to still go in person to work, even though it was during the pandemic in the past year. They had to quickly adopt guidelines so they could still go in person, because if they're not on site with the rest of their colleagues, they can't discuss any of the work, they can't access any data, so they can't really work remotely in these kind of situations. But it was still interesting to see the amount of stuff that they could do. But for the duration of the project, they can't speak about it outside of work, even if they pass by one another. If he sees his buddy from work at a Safeway, he can't talk about his project, even though it like just pops in his mind, because they're in public where the information might be too sensitive. And a good takeaway that he mentioned as well was try to learn non-engineering specific skills while you're still in school or before you graduate. When you're in school, you're going to learn all the academic stuff you need. And then once you go to work as an engineer, they're going to train you. They're going to want to make sure you know what to do because you're an asset to them. You're going to be an investment for that company and they want to see you succeed. So they're going to want to train you with all the stuff you need to know. If there's any technical abilities that you need to have or trainings, they'll give that to you. If it's something like public speaking or time management, stuff that we've kind of gone over in this course, they won't really teach you that at your job, and not every course in school will go over it as in-depth as we do here. So try and practice that as much as you can before you graduate, because that really, as an engineer, you can do much better in public speaking, you better communication with your colleagues. And it just goes beyond public speaking, good writing skills, good time management. There's so much that goes into it. So anything that seems like a good job skill, if it's not centered to engineering, it's good to work on that.
Thanks so much, Adam, for saying that, because we tend to think that the math and science is the most important, but the other skills too that are more industry skills are very important. So thanks for sharing that. Okay, I'm going to turn it back into gallery view so I could see everyone again. So if you could turn your pages on, or okay. I wanted to give you an overview of today, so I'm going to go and share my screen. And I'm going to go to modules. And so what we're working on today is our last class for Engineering 5. This is our last class. So the next Thursdays, beginning next Thursday, you're free. Although I won't see you maybe on Thursdays anymore, I really hope to continually see you in my office hours. So Priti will be joining us later on in the class. So what we wanted to do today is go over the first project, which is Interview an Engineer. And I'm hoping that you got a lot out of the interview process first. And then I hope you also got a lot by everyone sharing what they learned. And then we're going to hear from you on your Mobile project soon. I want to get some suggestions from you on this course so that we can make the class even better next time. And then Kelly Horner is going to come in today with some MESA students to talk about some of the support programs we have here at Cabrillo. And then a few weeks ago when I met with you, I asked both sections of the course, what do you want to learn more about? And there were some people who said they really wanted to learn more about environmental engineering and that we didn't cover it enough. So what I did is I prepared a presentation on environmental engineering. I interviewed Kelly, who has a bachelor's and a master's degree in environmental engineering. So I interviewed her, so there'll be an interview here, and she's an alumni of Cabrillo's program. And then I also found 3 YouTube videos that I thought were good and diverse about different things environmental engineers do. So I wanted to let you know that I wrote it under other, just something else that you can see. And then some other students asked about the idea of entrepreneurship and engineering. So I did a little research on that yesterday as well. And I prepared a presentation on that as well. There was a really neat article that I read about combining engineering and entrepreneurship, which is really about innovative design. And then I found 3 TED Talks about it. The first one was, so make sure that you guys are on mute, okay? Okay. The first one was about a professor at a Kenyan university that talked about giving his students entrepreneur skills. And what I learned from that takeaway for me there is that you as Cabrillo engineering students, you have the equipment available to you at Cabrillo to do design, innovate, and build. So that was really awesome. And then there was a woman who was a computer scientist who also worked with an African community to change the paradigm. There was this material, this plant that was covering up the waterways that was really screwing up everything. And she took a problem and created a solution for the betterment of a community. And that's an innovative entrepreneur kind of thing as well. And then the last one was about air travel, which was interesting because who was it that spoke to I'm looking, hang on. I'm sorry, I can't remember, but I mentioned Joby, and that's what this was all about. It was about air travel, air taxis. So I'm going to go back to the module. So just so that you know, you do have this information here, which is extra beyond what we covered in the course. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing and talk again. You guys, once a course ends, the Canvas information goes away for you, which I think is really disappointing. I'm going to make sure, I'm going to send an email to IT and make sure that you still have access to the Engineering 5 Canvas page this whole semester. But at the end of the semester, all that information that's there for you is going to go away. So if I were you, I would start spending my Thursdays downloading all the stuff that you felt was important so that you have it. Okay, I'm going to repeat that. Canvas goes away when a course goes away. I'm going to ask IT to leave you access to this course till the end of the semester. But at the end of the semester, you are not going to have access to all the stuff that Priti and Carl and I put on this Engineering 5 Canvas page, which is really disappointing, but that's how we have to teach. Anyway, so anything that's important, you should go in there and download anything that you felt was important that you want to still have, whether it's videos or articles or whatever. Okay. So that was what I would suggest. In fact, I'm taking a ceramics class right now, and that's what I'm doing. I'm downloading every single video that the teacher posted, because I know that when I do ceramics in the future, I'm going to want to know more about glazing and this and throwing and that. And I'm not going to have access to it anymore because I'm a student in that class. So I'm downloading all the videos. So I urge you to do that as well. I know we should have a break soon. I am putting in the chat. You remember that all the communication that you had with me was via Canvas. Do you remember? I had you communicate to me via Canvas. Well, you're not going to be able to, well, actually, I think you will be able to do that. We'll look at that in a minute. Hang on. I want to keep writing down notes of things I want to tell you. For one, I'm putting in the chat my email address. It's easy. jp@cabrillo.edu. jp@cabrillo.edu. And you could find me. I have web pages up. Actually, let's look for that. So hang on a second. Sometimes I find it's hard to remember an email address or a web page, but I'm going to share with you right now. And that's all I'm doing is I'm going to a main Google page. That's all you have to do is say Cabrillo Engineering, Cabrillo Engineering, and you're going to get to the Cabrillo Engineering page. And it is maybe easier to remember, cabrillo.edu/engineering. But if you forget, you just do a Google search, Cabrillo Engineering. And then you go, here I am. You click on me. And here's me. Here's my website, which is this. Here's my office hours. Here is how you could email me, but you know it's jp@cabrillo.edu. And then I always have my office hours on here. Okay, so you could always find me. And I am your source for all information, whether it's engineering abroad, whether it's future engineering classes, whether it's Joanne, I'm failing my second math class and I don't know what to do. Don't stress, meet with me. I'll redo your schedule. Internships, meet with me. What universities to go to, meet with me. I am your source of information for everything that's engineering at Cabrillo. Okay, so In addition, I'm going to actually go back to the engineering department page. And okay, those of you who might be interested in the Engineering Abroad program, which is really an amazing program, you're going to network very closely with about 10 or 15 students. You're going to have a fall class together to learn about abroad. You're going to go 2 weeks to Costa Rica next January to work on an engineering project. You don't have to have any skills. You're going to build up a lot of skills. You're going to get to meet a lot of engineers when we return. Notice, can you guys all see the right side here? I mean, the left side? And see where it says Engineering Abroad? I'm going to click on it. And you have to scroll down. Okay, let me see. I haven't updated this page yet, so let me look at it. This is all about all the different programs. Oh, here it is. Okay, sorry, it took so long. So one, if you want to learn more about abroad, if you click on any of these, we've been around, the abroad program's been around since 2014. And there are video presentations in here. There are reflections students wrote about what the abroad program meant to them. But if you scroll all the way down, it says here, 2020-21 engineering abroad application. Well, you could tell that I didn't put next year's application here yet. So soon, I will post next year's application. Okay, and it'll be due probably in May sometime. Okay, I also wanted to show you, are we back at Canvas? Can you see the Canvas page? Okay, I'm going to go to the dashboard. And when we go to the dashboard, you all have access to this page, this engineering student page. If you open it, there's a ton of announcements here. Whenever I find out about a job in engineering, whenever I find out about a scholarship in engineering, when I want to advertise that there are scholarships, when I want to advertise when an engineering abroad application is due, it's all in here. Everything is in here. Research opportunities, conferences, speakers, everything is here. Now, let me tell you, the college is cluttering up your desktop. I mean, if any one of you shared your desktop to everyone, it used to only be engineering student and all your courses. And now it's engineering student, all your courses, and a bunch of other stuff that may be helpful or not. But remember, this is very important. This is where all the engineering faculty and engineering students, if a student wants to start a new engineering club, they send me an email and I post it. This is where everything for engineering is for you. Like you probably have a new CAP thing, which I went in there, it seemed like a bunch of crap right now. But this is really important. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing with you for a moment. So we did the interview thing, which has to do with this class, but now you know where the engineering department page is. You know what my email address is. You know how to find out all information about engineering, which is through the engineering student Canvas page. You know how to go to the engineering abroad page to apply. Those are the really important things. So I think what we want to do now is take a break. Okay. So break time. Come back at, let's see, it's, how about 12:40? Okay. Come back at 12:40. And I'm going to, I'll stay here for a little bit and then I'm going to go take a break too to get water. So if anybody has questions, I'm available right now.
Hi, Joanne. I have a question for you.
Yeah,
I can't
Cody.
figure out how to upload the mobile project.
So you are just going to hold the project in front of you and talk about it.
So the paperwork that, that whole thing, they're not turning that in.
No.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
easy enough.
Had we been on board a couple weeks ago and got it, so you turned it in, I would have had you turn it in. But last week in class, I noticed there was no submission. So I assumed there was no submission. And I told you there was no submission. So I didn't feel comfortable telling people changing it midweek. So you're just going to show your project.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Okay, another question?
I think I had a question. When showing your project, does it have to be in balance? Because I'm aware that we're supposed to show everything that that represent us, but are we supposed to, like, is it supposed to be like exactly in balance? Like, for example, if you put it against the wall, it may be unbalanced because of the wall friction.
Yeah, I mean, when you hang it, hold it up and suspend it, it's supposed to be balanced, but it's totally understandable that if it's outside or leaning it up against a wall, it's not going to look balanced. The key is that you're going to show us stuff.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I could unhang it from the wall and then show that it's balanced, but it's okay, makes sense. Perfect.
It's okay. You could leave it on the wall because the most important is to show what you
Okay.
have on it.
Okay,
Thanks,
perfect.
Luis. Okay, I'm going to go take a break then too. And then I'm going to mute myself, and Kelly, you could take it away.
All right, thanks so much, Joanne. And thanks everybody in advance for your attention. My name is Kelly Horner, and I am primarily the MESA Director, Math, Engineering, Science Achievement Director at Cabrillo College. MESA program is a support community for STEM specific students especially that are going to be transferring in STEM majors. And that it's namely to support first generation students, first in your family to head down that path for bachelor's and then beyond. And then also students that are receiving financial aid currently. So those are kind of the two main eligibility criteria. If you don't fit that eligibility criteria, I don't think you should tune out because MESA and an expansion of the network here at Cabrillo has a lot to offer. And I've brought two students with me, or I invited them, I didn't bring them. Emmanuel Navarro, who is Kelly Horner too, on a different link, and then Carolina Mejia. And I will turn it over to them to tell you a little bit about themselves and then also about the MESA program. And while they're doing that, I'll put the MESA interest form in the chat. Thanks you two for coming, and here you go.
I can go first. So, hi, my name is Emmanuel Navarro. I am a software engineer major, and I'm a student from Watsonville High. I went to Watsonville High, and I chose Cabrillo College because it was a close proximity, and I've heard a lot of great resources it provided. And the way I found out about MESA was through stumbling through the STEM Center. So I just walked into the STEM Center, and I used a lot of the resources that were there at the STEM Center, and then I was introduced to the MESA program that way. And then MESA has directly supported me by, at least in the pandemic and in the past too, a lot. But for right now, they've given me they've helped me with textbooks, laptops, one-on-one tutoring, and I've been given an opportunity to also tutor at the virtual STEM Center as a computer science tutor and a mathematics tutor. So all these opportunities I've gained through all I've learned at the MESA program and at the STEM Center. And then I've been able to attain a couple of scholarships, and most recently I was accepted to the summer internship at Berkeley at the Transfer to Excellence program under the EECS department. So I'll be learning artificial intelligence in the Interact Lab. So that was a good opportunity that I gained from joining the MESA program and the STEM Center. Yeah, MESA is a great resource, and I couldn't advocate more for it than I can. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Carolina Mejia. I'm a third year at Cabrillo. I'm a mechanical engineering major, hopefully going into the specialty of biomedical engineering, making prosthesis, artificial organs, research, stuff like that. Yes, I am a MESA student, but also I am a MESA ambassador. Me and Emmanuel work with students under the MESA program. And we recently have been doing it more often because of COVID-19. So with a lot of students being virtual, we call and we kind of try to communicate with you guys throughout the semester to make sure you guys are doing all right. Make sure that you have all the supplies, like he said, laptops, hotspots, school supplies, free food, all of those resources that can be available for you all to have a successful semester. A little bit about me, same with Emmanuel. I don't know if some of you all have been to the STEM Center. Maybe this is your first year at Cabrillo and it's a virtual setting, but once we all can come back, it's an amazing place. The STEM Center becomes your community. It becomes your home away from home. You literally sleep, cook, and study all in one area, and everyone is stressing together, and it becomes this just tight-knit community, and they technically follow you until you transfer, and then sometimes even when you transfer, you have like a clique with you that might transfer with you. So it's always a fun little community. I think also with the STEM Center and with the MESA program, you get to meet students with really unique backgrounds. And Emmanuel, like as a returning student, like he has a unique perspective. I'm a first generation student, daughter of an immigrant. So it's like we all have unique stories to share. And this might not have been your first choice. It wasn't my first choice either to come to Cabrillo. I felt like I was letting down a part of me. So you're in the right place. If you feel like you're not, you are. This community will advance you in a way that a 4-year personally, I think, could never. And just keep at it. I mean, if you're wanting to take advantage of these resources, like we're here to help you, and just take advantage of it. And if we can't offer you the things that you need, it's like there's so many resources on campus that we can connect you to. There's always an answer at Cabrillo. So if you guys are interested, I know Kelly put in the interest form in the chat, and just let us know if you have any questions. We're here.
Thanks, Carolina. Thanks, Emmanuel. I love that tagline, Carolina. I feel like it should be Cabrillo's new tagline. Like, if you have questions, Cabrillo's here. So, I don't know. Anyways, so yes, the interest form is in chat. And I also wanted to add to everybody, I don't know many of you, I am also the manager or coordinator of the STEM Center. So when we are back in person, you will see me a lot in that area. And my background is civil and environmental engineering. I just put a video together with Joanna. I had a lot of fun doing that. I hope you all have a chance to watch it for those who are interested in going down that specific pathway. Do any of you have any questions? Do we have a couple more minutes, Joanne, so they could ask
Yeah, you
questions?
can answer questions if they have questions.
Thanks. And if not. All right.
Well, thanks a lot for coming. And I know we will all be on campus in the spring, and the STEM Center will be open. And just so those Engineering 5 folks know, there is a proposal by a bunch of departments to actually have the STEM Center open in the fall. So that could be a possibility too. The college has to determine whether it's safe or not, but it's quite possible that we'll be able to be looking at each other in the STEM Center. Okay, well, Kelly, thank you. Emmanuel, thank you. Carolina, thanks so much. Thanks.
All right, thanks again.
Okay, bye.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Have a nice day.
Thank you. And if you see us in person, say hi.
Okay, everyone. So I'm gonna put back in gallery view. So now I'm gonna have you guys go into the breakout rooms, and the key is, again, networking, establishing a community among you that are interested in the same fields of engineering. And you could share your mobile any way you want, but just realize that with the amount of people that we have in the room, you probably just want to talk about each one of the things that are hanging from your mobile. So I'm just pulled up the breakout room, and what I did is I created 3 rooms, one civil structural, one mechanical aero, and the third room is electrical computer software. So I'm going to open all rooms now, and then I'll
Wait, hold on, Joanne.
yeah.
So we share in the breakout rooms. Are we also supposed to share in the public, like to everyone else, or it's just the breakout rooms?
You're going to share your mobile to the people in your breakout rooms only, because that'll limit the amount of time. So you're sharing with other, if you're a mechanical engineer, you're sharing with the other mechanical arrows what is important to you, so you get to know each other. Okay. And I know in the past when I put you in breakout rooms, I could message the breakout rooms, but it sounds like some people have said they didn't get the message. You're going to have to look for that. But I imagine you're going to be in there for about 15 minutes or so. Okay, so maybe depending on how many people are in there, that's how much each amount of time you have. Okay, I'm opening the rooms now. Cody, do you have a room? Okay.
For the last part of the class today, we are going to do a game, and it's an online game. And so I don't know if maybe perhaps you've done one before, but it's called a Kahoot. Yeah. And it's kind of a review. Okay, good. Awesome. I'm getting some thumbs up. It's a review of the class, so things we've talked about over the course of the semester. And we're going to put you into breakout rooms, groups of folks. And as a group, you have to decide on the correct answer. First, you'll have, so someone in the group will have to share their screen. Is there anybody here who can't share a screen? If there is, you need to let me know so that I don't put 3 or 4 people of this not able to share a screen into the same room. That would be bad. So one person will share the screen, and then you as a group can discuss the answer, and I guess the person sharing the screen will select the correct answer. Does that make sense? Yeah. The
And
first that, go ahead.
Priti, and in some of the cases on the questions, there could be more than one right answer, correct?
Yes, on some of the questions, there's more than one right answer.
Okay.
And the first thing you're going to do as a group is come up with a group name. So it's going to ask you to have a name. No. It generates an automatic name. It's going to ask you to spin the dial, generate a name, but then you're going to type your names in underneath your assigned team name. Okay, so that way we know who's in every group. We can see it in the breakout rooms, but just also so we know. And then, you know, as soon as you finish, come back into the main room. That's the way it goes. So first thing I'm going to put in the chat is the link to the Kahoot. So if you guys want to go there, you can go there now just to be ready. And then the other thing you're going to need is the game pin. And that's the second thing I'm going to put into the chat before I open the breakout rooms. And again, you know, if all of you want to pull up this Kahoot and game pin, that's fine, but it's better if you do it as a group together and one person shares, because then you have your breakout room with your group. Okay. All right. So then when you're done, come back and we'll see how you did. Sound good? All right. Have fun. Okay, it looks like they knew what they were doing. So,
Yeah,
now-
certainly more so than I knew.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have the link. You just put the link in the chat.
And now I'm trying to go to see the results. So let's see.
Okay, hang on a second. Let me. And is the pin always the same?
That I don't know, because I didn't notice what it was last time. But as soon as I
Okay.
logged in and did the steps, it got me to here. And then I had the pin. I copied this and put the pin in.
All right, and you told me what the password was. I have to look it up.
Did I write it down? Oh, we're being recorded.
Oh, okay.